All right, everybody, we're back, and our next guest is a very funny guy who could be seen touring all over the country, and he's also could be seen now on Netflix's The Degenerates. Got to check that out. Here he is, ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Brad Williams. Brad, how you doing, man?
Doing wonderful. It's weird that right now when you say, like, he can be seen all over the country, there's a lot of people that'll be listening to this going, can you really? Because of what's going on, and that's completely understandable. But yeah, I've started to go back out there. I did Oklahoma City last weekend. I'll be in Utah this weekend. I have an Arizona date coming up. So yeah, there's some stuff where you can kind of pick and choose and go through the states and see which ones are open, ones aren't. And as long as the club is doing enough, in my opinion, to keep everybody safe, then okay, I'll go perform there.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be one of the very few comedians right now that's since the quarantine has been out there performing. It's like you, I know Jeff Dye. Any others that have been breaking new ground?
Um, I don't want to leave anybody out. I don't want to act like Jeff and I are the first ones or the canaries in the coal mine. But right now, I don't think there's other comics. I know plenty of comics that have dates that are booked in like early June to start going out. So yeah, but I know like the Addison Improv in Dallas is open, and they've been running a couple shows. But it was really interesting because I guess I was one of the first ones, because after my weekend in Oklahoma City, I got calls from a bunch of like headliner comics like, hey, what's it like out there? How'd it go? What happened? So yeah, I got to talk to a few guys and girls that are big league headliners, and I'm like, oh wow, okay, cool. I guess I get to talk to this person now. It's fun.
Yeah, because in a lot of ways, you said canary in the coal mine. You kind of are, in a way, like even the big time headliners are kind of gauging you. Hey, how you feeling? You have a fever? You doing all right?
Yeah. Oh no. And trust me, I was kind of like that. I was like, well, here we go. Um, and they wanted to know if I was feeling okay and if I felt safe and how the crowds were. And so far so good. We are taking precautions, and it's a strange thing, because I completely understand the people that say there should be no live shows right now, nothing should be happening, we should all be locked down. I completely understand that, and I completely understand the people that say I'm not going to any shows. Cool, do whatever you need to do to feel safe. I'm not one of these guys that's like, it should go back exactly like NBA playoffs start tomorrow. Like
Right.
I'm not that dude. But if these clubs are taking precautions, which is at 1/3 capacity, sitting tables 6 feet apart from each other, taking everyone's temperature as they come in the room. I'm not doing a meet and greet afterward, because I don't want to have people then line up and then certainly not shake the hand of everyone who just saw the show. So yeah, there's precautions taking place. Obviously, the safest thing in the world to do would be for us to all stay home. That would be the safest thing. But there are certainly people out there that would like to earn some money. There's some people out there with bills to pay. And when you're talking about the waitresses and the wait staff and the sound guys and things like that work at a comedy club, they don't have the luxury of staying home for 2 months, for 3 months. And some of these people I know work week to week as is. So a lot of it's for them, but I'm just trying to bring smiles to people's faces and do what I always do and make some jokes, and hopefully people like it.
Yeah, they say laughter is the best medicine. I think people need comedians. How was the crowd? Like, were they coming out? Were there people, or was it kind of a small crowd, or how was it? Like,
Yeah. Well, first of all, I think the whole phrase "laughter is the best medicine" during a pandemic, no, it's not. Like, I mean, I'm not even gonna say hydroxychloroquine is the best medicine.
Even though Trump's taking it.
Yeah, I'm gonna say the best medicine is probably the one that hasn't come out yet, which is the vaccine. Whenever we get to that, that would
Yeah.
be the best medicine.
Right.
I would take that over a good knock joke any day of the week. But So I'm not this guy that's like, oh no, I'm a hero. No, fuck no. I'm just an egomaniac who likes to hear the sound of strangers laughing. No, but the crowds were great. The crowds were fantastic. Like it was at 1/3 capacity. And then they also don't seat people at tables with people that they don't know. So if normally, you know this, working at Governor's, if a party of 2 shows up, you sit them with another party of 2 and you say, hey, this is your table. Now you guys are friends for a night. That wasn't happening. So if you came by yourself, you had a table by yourself. You party of 2, you had a table by yourself, party of 2. But I think everyone was just so anxious to get back out there and so ready and so looking for something to help them forget about this thing that's been going on now for a few months, that it was all in a great mood, man. They were all completely ready. They were laughing. I even do some coronavirus jokes, and I was kind of worried because obviously there's some people who know people that have this, who lost loved ones, God forbid. So I wanted to be sensitive to that, but they laughed at the coronavirus jokes, man. I think it's just, we're all so tense right now, or it's also unknown. We all want to laugh, man. We all want to find those things that are funny, the moments of levity. So so far, man, the crowds have been absolutely fantastic, and I hope it continues safely.
Yeah, because not only are you kind of the test, like the canary, again, to use that analogy, but also these clubs are too. And for clubs like our club and Governors here in Levittown, you know, we're also trying to figure it out and probably be touching base with all these other owners and seeing how it worked out, the seating, all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And then it's up to the states, you know, if your governor says that you can't have anyone, you know, more than 50 people in a room, well, okay, I guess you can't do that. Or maybe do you do a show with 50 people in the room if that's the limit? I mean, it's kind of rough. There's right now is kind of a good time for comics like myself, like the sort of headliners but lower level headliners, because we can still work. Like if you're Gabriel Iglesias, you can't really work right now because you're used to doing theaters and stadiums, you know. Then you can't. I don't know if you're going to do a stadium correctly. I don't know if you could social distance at a theater. Maybe you can. I don't know. But although I don't feel bad for Gabriel, he made like $25 million last year, so
yeah, he's gonna be all right.
Yeah, he'll be okay. But yeah, you know, so right now we're just kind of feeling it out, and I would love to believe that there's some sort of happy medium that we can find to where we're not opening everything back up completely, but we're not just staying at home and no one leaves their house and we do that. You know, there's some sort of happy medium, and I hope people can continue to, like, we're going back, but I saw the people in the show social distance. No one came up to me and like gave me a high five or licked my face. You know, and when I announced that I wasn't doing a meet and greet, no one was really bummed out. I mean, they were bummed, but they were just kind of like, yeah, we get it. We get why you're not doing that. So I applaud people for being very understanding of other people's wishes and beliefs.
Now, a lot of comedians that I've been interviewing throughout this said that when we get back, man, I might bring my own microphone and all this stuff. Are you using your own microphone, or how is that kind of protocol going?
I don't bring my own microphone, but I do. They have wipes. They have sanitary wipes. And like a stripper starting her set, I take that mic stand and I just go up and down and I go all over and I go all over the mic. And yeah, I do that because thankfully, I don't know, thankfully comedians in general typically have pretty decent immune systems because of how we live, because we travel and we're on planes every week and hotel, and we speak into a microphone that Bobby Lee has rubbed on his balls for the last 20 minutes. And
sorry, my sack came off.
We're talking into that same mic. I got Bobby Lee ball juice all over me, man. And so most of us have pretty good immune systems because of that we've been slowly building up. But
Because of the Bobby Lee ball juice, yeah.
Yeah. That might be the cure to this whole thing.
It could be.
Start in Asia, and an Asian can end it. You know.
There you go.
Inject pure Bobby Lee ball juice in your veins. We're one step away from Trump saying that during a press conference. You know. And Bobby Lee, take some of his ball juice, put it in with the Clorox. It'll be great. Kills it. But yeah, it's, you know, but I am aware that we're dealing with a different animal. We're not dealing with the common cold. So don't think that I'm like, my immune system's good. I could fight off anything, and then, get corona. So yeah, we're all just trying to be cautious. We're all trying to go back to some semblance of normal, but at the same time, entertain people, do what we're supposed to do.
Now you're kind of like, being one of the first comedians to do this. Not to harp on this the whole interview, but you're kind of a pioneer of the new world here in comedy. You're like, you're traveling now. You're hitting up. You're on tour and hitting these comedy clubs.
Yeah, I would say if you live in a city with a comedy club that's open, the comedy club is fine. Traveling, that's a whole. It depends on the flight, but man, I flew with a company that rhymes with Schmerican, and it was pretty much just middle seats were open, but there were people in your row, and everyone was wearing a mask. They didn't serve food or drink. When I got to my seat, I took out a little towelette. I wiped down the tray, the seat belt, the seat, the handles, the armrest. I wiped down everything, and then they tell you don't put anything in the seat back pocket. They tell you that, and then I also flew Southwest because I'm a very successful comedian. I'm a very rich man, and on those flights I actually had a whole row, so I felt kind of good. But the thing that was crazy is, they say during the flight, like, social distance, got to practice social distance. And then as soon as the plane lands, gets in there, and that bing, and then that seatbelt sign goes off, everyone just stands up, gets right in the row, and starts taking their bags out and lining up. And you're like, all right, now you're all breathing on each other's necks. Good job, buddy. Like, fuck it, let's all die. So it's, the traveling to me is the part that actually made me kind of uncomfortable. Thankfully, for my gigs in Utah, I'm driving. For my gigs in Arizona, I'm driving. And then I don't want to take any connecting flights.
I ask them, I'm like, guys, what sort of fun shit do you want to do? They say, we want to take you on a Black Hawk helicopter. I'm like, yes. I'm going on that. And I tell that to my friends. They're like, Brad, weren't you scared? No. You have to understand who I am, the life I've lived. I'm the guy that when I go to Six Flags, I can't ride half of their shit. And now the U.S. government just said, you see that death machine? Do you want to hop on? Erection. I'm good.
Well, now we're going to shift gears and go into this segment called Comedy Questions.
Fire away, my friend.
All right. Who is on your Mount Rushmore of comedy? Your comedy Mount Rushmore.
Mount Rushmore of comedy. See, here's the thing, is I feel like every comic has to say Carlin, Pryor, and Bruce, because without them, there's no stand-up as we know it. It's still Borscht Belt. It's still like Take My Wife, No Please Take Her. Like the three of them made comedy like an art form in terms of personal expression, anti-establishment. So yeah, you got to put them on. And then I would put Joan Rivers on mine. Just that brash, unapologetic, female perspective, breaking down barriers, glass ceilings, funny as hell, funny. and one of the hardest workers ever, and literally funny till the day she died. So, yeah, I put Carlin, Pryor, Bruce, Joan Rivers.
Awesome. Who was your biggest comedy influence?
Man, I mean, between Robin Williams and Christopher Titus's special, Norman Rockwell is Bleeding, is one of the greatest comedy specials of all time. I love that special.
Armageddon's coming. They've been talking about it since the beginning of time. Well, I say, bring it on. Because some of us need to go.
He's the guy that taught me, because I always thought I had a pretty weird childhood, obviously being a little person and everything that went along with that. He's the guy that taught me that you can have tension on stage. It can get real tension. Like, it could get, oh my God. And then the release is so much bigger once you build up that tension. So yeah, Titus and Robin Williams for me.
Yeah! Oh, God. A creamed me spinach. Yeah!
Do you remember the very first time you ever did stand-up? And tell us that story.
Yeah. I did stand-up. Well, to tell the story completely, you have to go back before I actually went on stage. So I went to a comedy show. I was in the audience, and this was Father's Day, 2004. Father's Day 2004. I'm in the audience at the Bray Improv. There's a comedian on stage, and he starts making midget jokes. Half the audience is laughing. The half that's sitting by me is like, no, like, just like, don't laugh. Like, and then the comedian notices. It goes, what, is one of them here? And I just raised my creepy little hand in the air, like, what's up, dude? And he called me up on stage. He asked me some questions. I answered the questions honestly. I wasn't trying to be funny, but my answers got laughs. And that was it, man. That was when I decided I got to be a comic. I always thought about it. I always loved comedians. Never actually thought I could do it until I got laughs on the stage at the Improv. And yeah, the next week I went to the Laugh Factory open mic night just to watch. Because I thought, well, let's see how good these guys are, because I don't know if I belong here. And then going to the Laugh Factory open mic night, certainly in those days, was like, all right, yeah, I think I could go on stage right now and be funnier than the two bums and the heroin addict that just went up on stage. Like, I'm good. So yeah, I wrote jokes. Next week, went on stage, and that was 16 years ago. And it dropped out of college. I had 1 year to go at USC, and dropped out of college and started touring, man, and haven't stopped.
Wow, man, that's pretty cool. You kind of, like, the way you got into it is like anointed from one comic to a new comic, and it just all kind of happened.
Yeah, it was really cool. It was really cool the way it happened, and I'm glad it did. That's why I'm anxious to get back to work too, because I mean, some comics are like, oh, I was a teacher before, or I was an accountant or a lawyer or something. Me, it's like, no, I've only been a comedian. I worked at Disneyland, and I've been a comedian. Those are my two jobs that I've had my entire life. And they're both shut down right now. So it's like, I don't have any skills to go back on.
What's the best comedy advice you ever got?
The best comedy advice I ever got. I'm going to have to explain it. But a comedian once said to me, just remember this one thing. Nobody cares about you. Now, let me explain why that's the best comedy advice I ever got. Because comedians, we all get up in our heads all the time of like, oh my God, I did this bit wrong. I said this thing. The whole crowd thinks I suck. I walk up on stage and they hate me before I say anything. No, nobody cares. Nobody cares about you. Everyone in that audience is just going like, wow, we're at a show. Somebody's talking. I could never do that. I can never do what that comic's doing. And if you bomb, they're not going to remember it. They'll, or like, everyone's like, no, well, I performed this joke last week, so I can't do it again this week. they'll all know. No, they won't. Do the joke again. It's fine. Nobody cares about you, and it's just like don't be all up in your head. Don't think that you did one unfunny tweet and now you can never work again. Nobody cares. They just want you to be funny. They just want you to laugh. They just want to have a good time. So that was the best advice I got, is nobody cares about you.
What comedians are most like you? Do you see yourself in like their style or?
Well, here's the thing. I thought I was the first dwarf comic to have his name up on the Comedy Store and all that. I thought I was the first dwarf. Nope, not even close. Tanya Lee Davis has been doing this for years.
As you can tell from looking at me, I'm very down to earth.
And she's so funny, so good, so brash, doesn't give a fuck, and I love Tanya Lee Davis. So she's great, but so I guess she's like me in that we're both the little people perspective. I don't.
Are you and Tanya Lee like the only little people comics out there? And
no, there's a few others. There's Nick Novicki. He's solid. Danny Woodburn, who's Mickey from Seinfeld, he does stand-up occasionally. And then when I was in Houston, Texas, talk about coming full circle. So remember I said the story, there's a comic on stage and I was in the audience, right?
Right.
So I'm at the Houston Improv. I'm doing a show, and there's this dwarf in the audience, and I'm cracking on him a bit, and then he starts firing stuff back at me, like during the show, but it's funny. It's not like go fuck yourself or whatever. It's funny, and I'm like, oh, what the? And I kind of stop and go, what do you do for a living? And there's a pause, and he goes, I'm a comedian. And I go, what? And he's a comic. so now, granted, this is like 45 minutes into my set, so I'm about to close out. And I go, you know what? Let's see what you got. You got a sold out improv right now. Come up here. And I called him up on stage, and he started doing jokes. And man, was he funny. Really funny. His name is Clinton Shorter. And I know you're like, oh, his last name's Shorter. Is he a dwarf? No, that's his real last name.
That's his real name, yeah.
His real last name is Clinton. His real last name is Shorter. His name is Clinton Shorter, Houston, Texas. Really funny. And that night, the Houston Improv saw him and started booking him after that because they saw him crushing from the sold out audience. So it's kind of crazy how it came full circle like that.
That is
so,
cool.
Yeah.
And that's awesome that you gave him an opportunity in there and all that too.
Oh, dude. Well, when you think about the opportunity I got, getting pulled up out of the crowd and walking up on stage and things like that, you got to pay it forward. It's so hard to break into this business and this industry. Everyone had help. Some people might say, no, I did it all my own. No, you had a club owner that believed in you. You had a comic that took you out on the road. You had something. The ball had some help. So if I could be someone who helps out other comics and gets to that next level, then I would love to do that for people.
Has Netflix or anybody ever approach you? Have you guys ever thought to do a kind of a Kings of Comedy, like a Little People of Comedy type of thing? Has that ever come up, or you guys are against doing that?
No, trust me, I'm not against. If I can get on Netflix again, I would love to do that. So I'm not against it. If someone wants to do that, I'm in. Let's get Tanya Lee. Let's get Nick. Let's get Clinton Shorter. Let's get myself, and then let's go. I'd be all for it. And I think what would happen is some people would watch for the novelty of it, and then minutes into our sets, they'd be like, "Oh, these people are funny. They're not funny because they're dwarves, or they're just funny. They're just funny people." So yeah,
and that was actually my next. Yeah, sorry to cut you off. I was actually going to say that with you, I haven't seen the others, but I know that with you, it's it's not a novelty. And when you do talk about your life and being a little guy, it's hilarious. And but you are a true comedian. You know what I mean? You just know a true comedian. It's in the blood, it's in the demeanor, it's in the fiber.
Yeah,
thank you. You carry that.
Thank you. And well, I'd say this, that some people are like, well, Brad tells dwarf jokes. Yeah, because I'm a dwarf. You know, I'm not going to go on stage and talk about my experiences being 6'2". That's not my experience.
Right.
So every joke I tell will have the perspective of a little person because I don't have any other perspective. I wasn't 5'8" trying comedy and it wasn't going well. So then I decided to be 4'4" at the hook. So yeah, I'm just trying to. I'll always write from the little person perspective, but my jokes will be beyond, like, I'm not gonna go on stage and for an hour I'm gonna go like, I can take a bath in a thimble. That's weird. Like, no, like, I'm not gonna do that. So yeah, just there will be a variety of topics that I cover during the shows.
Yeah, man, you're awesome. And our last comedy question here is, what is the best part for you of being a stand-up comedian?
Oh man, just there's no better feeling than writing a new joke and having the new joke work. Something you just thought of, you're like, this is gonna be good. And you go on stage, try it out, and it works. Like, think about the excitement that you have in a new relationship. You start dating someone new. It's all hot and heavy for the first month or so. We get to do that all the time with our material. Like, I have a relationship with my act, and when I get a new joke that works, this is my new toy, this is my new plaything, and I get to have fun with it. I can see where it's gonna go. Maybe it's gonna develop into a long 5-minute, 10-minute bit. Maybe it's just gonna be that one line, and that's all I'm gonna get out of it. But you know, that's the most exciting thing. And just, you know, just being able to, you know, my job is to make other people have a great night. Like, that's my job. So if I do my job correctly, everyone walks out of that room going like, wow, we're happy now. Like, it's a cool thing. It's not on the same level, not even close to the same level of, you know, a doctor or someone who saves a life, or, you know, or a lawyer that keeps someone out of jail when they were innocent. It's not even close to that. But, you know, people leave happy. I'd say it's on the same level of the guy that brings you your ice cream sundae at the end of the night. You know, you leave happier at the end. You leave happier. So yeah, that's the best part about being a comic for me.
Awesome, man. Well, Brad, I appreciate you. How can people see you? What you got coming up? I know you're actually touring, one of the few. So people can tell us where people can find you and see you.
Yeah, man. Go to Brad Williams. My tour dates are there. I'm updating them constantly as things get canceled, as things get rescheduled, as things get rebooked, and other things pop up. Instagram at Brad Williams Comic, Twitter at Funny Brad. And also a great source of income for me, Cameo. I'm on Cameo, so if you want me to wish someone a happy birthday, or the best cameo I ever got to do was a girl hired me to tell her ex-girlfriend that her pussy was stanky, and that was fun. So I got to do that. So yeah, you can hire me on Cameo. Go to cameo.com/Brad Williams Comic. And then you can hire me to give a shout out to somebody. It'll be fun.
Or tell them that their pussy smells. You could do anything you
want.
It's awesome.
Anything you want. I'll do it. I'm a whore for money.
Brad, thank you again for taking the time. You're awesome, my friend, and we'll be looking out for you. Hopefully Governors opens up soon and we see you come here on the East Coast.
I would love to do that. I've been to Governors before. It's a great club. It's an old-timey feel comedy club, and it's just really smart audiences, and I loved it when I was there, so I certainly hope I can come back.
Awesome. You rock, man. Thanks, buddy.
Thank you.